everyone, and welcome to the Lakes International Comic Art Festival Live, henceforth referred to as Licaf Live or Licaf Live, tomato, whatever your preference. My name is Julie Tait, and I'm founder director of the festival, and I'm a very small part of a very wonderful team. We had hoped that everyone would be with us today alongside the mass bands of Her Majesty's Royal Marines and the Kettlebridge Clog Morris Dancing Troupe. But unfortunately, because of that word that I'm not allowed to mention tonight, it's just little old me with a high-tech clipboard. It's not exactly Graham Norton, nor is it Jerry Springer show, but I am going to do my very best to provide you with all the information and guidance you need to make the very best of this weekend. It is live, proof here, ouch. And you can ask questions as the evening progresses, so please feel free to do so. I want to thank all of our loyal followers, of course, and I'll do a little bit more thanking in a minute. But I also wanted to say that we can't really pretend that it's not disappointing to not be able to invite you all to Kendal this year. But we're going to do our very best to invoke the spirit of the festival. And I think I can promise that the content that we're providing will be inspiring, will be fascinating, will be entertaining, it will be fun, and it will have those usual off-the-wall, top-secret kind of additional surprises as well. It has a very strong international flavour, and as always, there's far too much to choose from. I do want to thank, as I said, our loyal followers and also our new recruits. And I also want to extend a heartfelt thanks to all the international creators around the world who've supported us in this endeavour. At this point in the evening early on, I'd also like to thank our key funders and partners. First and foremost, our main funder, Arts Council England, and our new sponsor and partner, Lenovo. Also our local supporters, Cumbria County Council, South Lakeland District Council and Kendal Town Council, and the University of Lancaster as well. From an international perspective, I'd like to thank the French Institute, the Italian Institute, the Finnish Institute, and also the Czech Literary Centre, and our big pals at NCS Fest as well. Cheers to them all, and cheers to you. So now, by way of some comic art action, with a difference, last week we were able to run a very special outdoor event, which was a kind of pre-launch. It was a thank you to the people of Kendal, and it was a signal that the virtual festival was on the horizon. It was a light and sound animation mapped and projected onto Kendal Town Hall, and it featured work by more than 60 artists, which were artfully woven together by a fantastic company called Illuminos, who are very experienced in running these sorts of events. At the very core of that event was generously supplied by 4 artists some work in progress that was then specifically developed for that evening. And I'd like to thank now, before we run the video, those 4 artists, Lucy Sullivan of Barking fame, Michael Lark, Lazarus, Bill Morrison from The Simpsons, and the inimitable Dave Gibbons and Watchmen. Illuminos. Wow, gosh, that makes my spine tingle every time I watch it. I'd really recommend that you watch it again, always finding new things to see. And I want to thank again Illuminos for curating that bit of magic, and also the Kendal Business Investment District for helping us to make that possible at all. So what next? Well, tonight is the official launch, and we've just released about 10 minutes ago a ton of content onto the website, a bit like a Netflix series, but of course much better. And it's all accessible for free via our website. You just visit a section that you're interested in. You have a look at the films that are available there, and then you just press play and go. It's as simple as that. And you can watch them at any time at all over the weekend or for at least a few months afterwards. We've saved a selection of films for live release over the weekend, and on the hour, every hour, tomorrow and on Sunday, we'll be releasing some of those films interspersed with some live feeds and participatory events. The full schedule is actually on the website as well. This gargantuan programme has been put together by our incredible team, and I want to name check all of them very quickly here. Richard, Carol, Hester, Sim, John, Steve, Hannah and Marianne. And then there are a few people who have gone that extra mile as well. The team at Creative Concern, especially Joe Gamble and Claire Bend, Glen Southern of Southern GFX, and then Jan Sigmund, Nicola Locatelli, Matthias Rambo, Thomas Louis Cotte and Arnie Gunnarsson have been extraordinary. But last but really not least at all are the incomparable Chris Descent, the boundless Peter Kessler, and also the supercalifragilistic Mcgarrys, because I know they love Mary Poppins. That's Steve, Luke and Joe. So thank you for everything that you've done. So what's in each section? Well, we've tried new formats and ideas this year. We haven't taken the physical festival and just put it online. It's given us an opportunity to create some really quite unusual and interesting content. Top of my list is our virtual marketplace, which we're calling the Virtual Comics Clock Tower, and it's bursting with independent talent. You can go shop until you drop, or you can just go and explore the incredible range of talent out there. It's been tough for creators without festivals and conventions this year, so I implore you to go and have a look. It's a very beautiful, fun website designed by Joe and Luke Mcgarry. Another section, Do It Yourself, is actually 7 free workshops by some incredible creators, and you can still subscribe. We've got hundreds of subscriptions already. The first workshop starts at 11 o'clock tomorrow. We have the showing off section, which is actually the most popular aspect of the festival each year. And we've brought back to this virtual festival some of our best live drawers to share their talent with you. And then we've got Thinking Comics, which is sort of the TED Talk of comics, really. It's diverse, it's fascinating, and it's wildly different. We have Bobby Joseph talking about diversity and representation in comics. We have Elions from the Congo talking about African comics. And we have our festival favourite, Paul Gravett, talking about the future of comics as well. Comics Up Close is unbelievably wonderful. It's Desert Island Comics, it's Clouds Comics and Kendal Mint Cake, and it's Through the Comics Keyhole. What's not to like? Well, here to tell us exactly what to like and what not to like is the architect of that whole section of the festival, Peter Kessler. Hey, Peter.
Hey.
Hi. Well, how are you doing?
I'm very well. Hang on. Is this live now?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just watching you going through the whole list of things that's coming up.
Yeah, and now we've reached your bits. Yeah, and yeah, tell us a bit about how you came up with the ideas for those particular sections.
Well, the bits that make up the
Comics Up Close.
Well, you and I went and sat down about 6 feet away from each other in a cafe somewhere as soon as we were allowed to, and we just sort of discussed lots of ideas. And as far as I remember, we couldn't think of any. So then we just copied a load of existing ones that we liked. And that's
probably about right.
Changed them a bit. So no, what we tried to do was think, well, look, if we're going to put this online, what we really need to do is come up with some ideas that you couldn't do in real life, so which makes sense of having it online. So for example, like with Clouds Comics and Kendal Mint Cake, what I thought was, one thing that never happens at the actual festival is we don't actually get to go to the Lake District, because everybody has to be in Kendal together. So let's take some of these creators to some of these locations which have inspired creative artists over the centuries, including some comic artists, and let them go to those places and tell us about how they inspired them. So for example, you know, we've got Brian Talbot talking about some of the locations for his amazing book, The Tale of One Bad Rat, which is actually based in the Lake District. So we took him to the exact places where that story takes place, and he explains for us what it was about those locations. And we even mix between the shots of him talking and the images in his book, which you could never do in the actual festival. And another one is the Desert Island Comics, where we interviewed loads of different people about what comics they would take to a desert island, just like the Radio 4 show, nothing original there. But what we were able to do was add in loads of images to do with what they'd chosen, and also edit these things down to a really sort of packageable and enjoyable length. So unlike, you know, a live event where you kind of, you know, it can just kind of sprawl a bit sometimes, we could take advantage of the fact that this was online to edit it and make it really snappy, unlike this conversation right now.
Well, no, absolutely. And, you know, what are maybe some of the memorable moments from Desert Island Comics? Because I know we have interviewed people like Posey Simmons, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Mark Miller, Dave Gibbons, Charlie Adlard. I mean, it's quite a star-studded lineup, but there must have been moments.
Well, there were. I mean, I think, you see, what was actually really fascinating about doing the Desert Island Comics was that, to my surprise, people really opened up emotionally in a way that they wouldn't if they were on stage in front of 200 people. And they talked about far more than just the comics. So they were talking about coming to terms with autism in middle age. They were talking about learning that someone close to you is a sexual abuser. They had some absolutely amazing stories as well. I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but you know, Mark Miller's encounter with Stan Lee is a fantastic story, and it kind of inspired him to create his own company and be the writer that he is today. And he tells us that story. So yeah, those are some of the things to look forward to there.
And what about now, finally, your sort of highlights for the weekend? What are you most looking forward to? What would you most recommend?
Okay, well, I would certainly recommend people go and see Past the Panel, which is a fantastic. It's a fantastic video, but it's not just a video. It's also a sequence of images that you can watch. What happened there was, we basically, again, something you can't do in real life. One artist in America started a comic story, drew one page. It was then passed to somebody else in another part of the world. They drew the next page, and so on until we get a complete comic. How long was the whole thing? About 10 pages in the end?
Mm-hmm. 16.
16 pages in the end. It makes an absolutely fantastic video, and also the artists explain why they did what they did while you see them drawing as well. That's a real highlight for me. I have to say, something I'm really looking forward to is the big comics pub quiz, which I spent ages putting together, and in that everybody can take part live, and while we go through the quiz, you get sort of live updates of who's in the lead and things like that. It's got all sorts of different rounds, video rounds, picture rounds, history of comics rounds and things like that. You can do it in teams, you can do it individually. That's noon on Sunday, and I think it's going to be a lot. And also there's an amazing prize, isn't there?
There is. Well, there are two now, actually.
One
is a Wacom, and one's a very, very big comic.
There's a very, very big comic. It's so big, this comic, that you can't even have it there in the studio.
Absolutely impossible.
It just has to be posted from, where is it anyway?
Somewhere down south in a secret location.
It has to be delivered from there to its ultimate winning destination. So
exactly.
That's going to be fantastic.
Brilliant.
And I'm really looking forward to Luke Mcgarry's comic capers, because I just think it's extremely funny.
Yeah.
And especially when people are throwing requests and ideas at him, and you've just got to see him thinking on the spur of the moment, and he just comes up with some incredibly funny sketches. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Brilliant.
I was going to say, I think the Desert Island comics that we're holding back to put out live is the Kelly Sue DeConnick one, and that is an amazing watch. Here's the secret about that, is that interview actually took 2 hours and 20 minutes in total before being edited down to 35. But there are reasons for that, because Kelly Sue was, she was really dredging quite deep, and she was thinking a lot about what she wanted to say. So it makes for a really fascinating watch, in my opinion.
Brilliant. Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for everything that you've done to make the festival so special.
Oh,
and we'll see you again over the weekend, and definitely for the pub quiz. Thanks a lot, Peter.
Shall I press leave now?
Yes. Bye. Great. Okay, so coming up soon is a live link with the wonderful Charlie Adlard. In the meantime, I'm just going to tell you a little bit more about the final elements of the festival. We have a different view, which is 4 exhibitions online. 2 of those are exploring some remarkable work by Igor, Italian artist, and Toybox, a Czech Republic artist. And then we also have a bit of fun and frippery, as always. So we have the Corona Cartoon of the Year, where we will be actually awarding a Corona crown to the best one, voted for by the public. And we have the weirdest comic panels in the world as well, which is causing quite a stir on Facebook at the moment. Another section is Daft as a Brush, where we simply cannot get rid of Viz. So we will be running a competition to help them get rid of some stock for their annual coming up in 2021. We have some short, sharp challenges by 3 creators from across the world. And then we have the pub quiz, as Peter said, where we'll be awarding the accolade of Comics Clever Clogs 2020 with an amazing prize. It's available to all ages, and you can register on the website under that section so you can participate. Another very exciting session for us is the future of comics. And we've been very lucky this year to begin a very fruitful relationship with a guy who has to be the expert and the most generous person in terms of sharing his expertise. And that is, and he's with us tonight, as they say, Glen Southern of Southern GFX. Welcome, Glen. Hello.
I've got my own chair.
Can you put it together, though? You may be technologically advanced, but maybe the chair's beyond you. I don't know.
I've got props as well, so if it survives my lockdown belly, as I call it. So hello.
So here he is, and maybe Glen, you best introduce yourself, say a bit about who you are. And
yeah. So I'm new to the festival this year in terms of this kind of involvement. So I've been at the festival for about 4 or 5 years, and what I normally do is teach workshops. So as you know, so I'm normally here with a company called Wacom that I work with a lot, where we teach any age, from school age right the way up to people just coming into digital art. And we teach digital sculpting and basic digital skills, really. So it's been a long relationship in that way. This year it's very, very different. So we're looking at, or I've been looking at the future of comics in lots of different ways. So I've looked at interviewing the different types of people who are exploring 3D comics, people that are exploring how to take comics into the virtual realm. So how will comics evolve over time? And obviously people who are involved in the day-to-day comics industry, but are also putting their IP to other channels. Mm-hmm. So it's that bit leading up to the festival has been fantastic, really. It's been a very different experience for me. And then the exciting bit is that we're going to look at, after those, I think they're already out now, the content's already available. So yes. I'll start pushing those links out after this chat. But then we're going to do some playing with this tomorrow. So,
oh, wait.
So a lot of what my company does, a lot of the people that I work with, is we make a lot of content for games and film and TV and comics, and it's made in such a lot of different ways. One of the ways that we do a lot now is created in virtual reality. So I'm going to do a session tomorrow where we'll make some creatures and we'll talk about how we use them for design and how we use them in illustrations and movies and concept art. So it's a wide range of newer stuff on a very well-established comic format, really.
That's fantastic, and we're hoping that we can develop a longer-term program with each other, which is amazing.
Yeah. So I work a lot with Lenovo. So Lenovo is one of the sponsors. So I've got a really good relationship with the main sponsor, and when we do a lot of events, we do a lot of, we try and upskill a lot of people, a lot of kids, a lot of people who don't know where their careers are going in terms of creative. There's so many fields to go into now. And comics is still a strong one, illustration is still a strong one. So with Lenovo, who are really pushing into that media and entertainment sector, it's a great partner for us at Licaf. So good for us all, really.
Great, and so we'll see you again tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be on at 12 tomorrow. So
fantastic.
And I'll push out some links. So
Thank you very much.
See you soon.
See you later. Great. So that was Glen. And last, by no means least, there is another section to our festival, which we're hugely proud of, and it's Little Licaf, Little Licaf Live. And it's designed for under 12s, for their families, for their carers, and it's bursting, as you will see if you look on the website, with workshops, storytelling, show and tells, reading of comics, resources that you can use, colouring sheets, etc., etc. And all of this work would not be possible without the ongoing and generous support of Charlie Adlard and his wonderful family. Charlie has actually attended every festival since day one, and was Comics Laureate between 2017 and 2019, whilst occasionally on the side drawing a few zombies here and there. And we're really lucky to have Charlie with us tonight. We're going to attempt a live link to his home in Shrewsbury. And here he comes. Hi, Charlie. Charlie, hello. He's looking a bit befuddled. We're here, we're on.
Hello.
How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you, Julie. Can you hear me?
Of course. Yes, we can. It's fantastic. Hey, cheers.
I'm getting into the spirit.
Excellent. I hope everybody else is out there as well. No, it's great. I'm just wondering, first up, how things have been for you during lockdown.
Well, as probably many comic artists would say, nothing much has changed.
True.
I've practiced self-isolating for 25 years, so this year hasn't been that much different. I've just been bimbling along as normal.
Well, we're going to talk a bit, I think, in a minute, and even get a bit of a show and tell on what you're working on at the moment. But what do you miss about the festivals and conventions, though? I'm not trying to get you to say anything about Licaf, you can if you like, but more generally, about that particular world that is obviously not available to us at the moment.
Yeah, well, obviously, I'm going to say I miss Licaf the most, because that's my favourite con of the season. It's the only one I'll go to every year, so
Thank you.
I love you all.
Oh, we love you. Yeah.
But yeah, it's a real shame. It's probably the only thing I really regret about this whole thing is the ability not to go out and meet not only the fans, but meet my fellow, compatriots within this crazy industry. It's such a shame. I have kind of missed them. I've missed the signings. I've missed the companionship, shall we say. You were meant to come up to my house literally just before lockdown, weren't you?
I know. Yeah.
That was a real shame.
Well, that was to play with your Lego. That was nothing to do with comics. Ta-da! But yeah, I know it is. It's really sad, and we're hanging on to the hope that we can go ahead next year.
I'm sure wild horses,
yeah,
etc., etc.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I know that obviously you're a workaholic, so you're working on a new project at the moment. I think you'd agreed to kind of show the public a little bit about what you were doing, maybe perhaps make a bit of progress with it in the next couple of minutes. And
well, yeah, unfortunately, I literally finished the page this afternoon. I can't really do any physical work on it. It was just one of those things that happened. But
that's fine.
The page I've done, if I can just go on to share the screen, let's see if this old tech works here. I presume.
Aha.
Got it?
Wow, yeah, definitely.
Cool. Yeah, so this is a page from Heretic, which is a book I've been working on with my old mucker, Robbie Morrison, the guy that, we both worked on White Death, well over 20 years ago now, but it's still one of my sort of proudest achievements in terms of comic books. It was the first creator-owned book I worked on, so it has a distinct significance there. And Robbie and I have worked together on various things ever since. I did some of his Nikolai Dante stuff for 2000. We did a sequel of sorts to White Death for The Traces, World War One, end of the, to celebrate, if that's the right word, the end of World War One back in 2018 together. And he lives just down the road from me nowadays. So it made sense that we would obviously work together at some point. And this is a 120-page original comic book. I won't call it a graphic novel because I hate that term. It's probably going to be a one-off. I think we always knew it was going to be a one-off, like single standalone story, not going to be broken up into 4 issues or anything like that. And that's it. It's all digital, and done on the good old Cintiq. It's been a joy to work on. This is page 82 of a 120-page comic book, so nearly there. Hope to have it all done by Christmas.
Can you tell us a little bit about the storyline, or in a very sort of outline way?
Yeah, sure. As Robbie put it, to use a sort of a high concept Hollywood way, it's basically the name of the rose meets Sherlock Holmes. It's set in the 16th century in Antwerp, as you can probably tell. It's historical from that imagery. The main characters are actually real characters. Obviously, we're telling a fictional story. Obviously, at that period, we're all set around the time of the Spanish Inquisition, which is, a main thrust of the plot. But the main character is a guy called Cornelius Agrippa, who was a philosopher, a knight, a writer, got himself into loads of trouble, obviously, with the Spanish Inquisition. And he was famous for being the first person to get a witch off. I don't know how he managed that, but he was famous for that at the time. Basically this is a fictional story, very atmospheric, about his combat against the sort of manic is probably the wrong word, but the Spanish Inquisition, and there's a really intriguing atmospheric plot about sort of conspiracies and sort of slightly ghostly goings on, but is it ghostly or not? It's that sort of thing we're playing with. So it's it's brilliant story. Robbie always comes up trumps with his comics. So no, I've been absolutely loving it. So
you can see that. Well, in my opinion, you can see that's kind of oozing from that particular page. Can you just show us maybe a couple of other pages?
Oh God, right, okay, yeah, sure. Let's see what we've got. Let's get rid of that one. Let's open up. I will literally just go to a random selection.
Yeah, random's fine.
Random, if I can find the actual pages. Right, random. Wait, what number? Choose a number.
Oh gosh, 42.
42. Way, Secret of the Universe.
Comics bingo. Fun.
Yeah, there you go. Loading. Here we go. Oh, there we go.
Oh, wow.
Torture instruments.
Yeah.
Well, that's the main bad guy. Obviously, about to torture a poor hapless Christian.
Looks like, I mean, obviously, I mean, not obviously, but it seems like it is. It's like trademark Charlie Adlard, in so many different ways.
Yeah, I mean, I like to mix things up. Obviously, let's just find another page. So, you know, for me, it was an opportunity to tell something, shall we say, a bit more, for want of a better word, subtle than zombies. You know, I know we're still slightly in the horror genre with this, even though I wouldn't actually call it horror, just because it's more atmospheric, it's more creepy, it's more, yeah, definitely the historical stuff comes through, you know, because it's all set in real places with real characters. So the research, as you can probably tell, has been quite, let's try and find a more research heavy page. It's really hard to look at these tiny little thumbnails. Hang on, where are we? Yes. Yeah, something like, you know, I've got to draw. The one thing I found was a problem was I had no idea what a 16th century carriage looks like.
No, right.
You know, you're very familiar with the good old 18th century ones with the big old wheels and, you know, and everything. So actually, I ended up finding the perfect carriage from that NAF Netflix series. Oh God, what's it called? The one set in the Italian Renaissance time.
Oh, yes. Well, I can't remember the title of it either, but anyway.
Yeah. So many screen grabs later from that.
Well, at least you, excuse the expression, but at least you haven't shied away like Hergé did from drawing horses.
Exactly. No, I'm definitely on an Uderzo tip.
They're magnificent specimens. Fabulous. Brilliant. Thank you for showing us those. I mean, as you said before, I mean, you live in quite an amazing comics community, don't you? I mean, Shrewsbury, for some reason, seems to be a magnet for some of the greats, Robbie being one.
Absolutely, yeah. Yes, we are fast becoming the mecca for all comics people. Yeah, myself, Robbie, Christian Ward lives, like I say, just literally down the road. I always meet a friend for lunch on a Friday. I'm a creature of habit. And Christian is always going to pick his daughter up from nursery every Friday. So I see him every Friday just by accident because he's walking past picking his daughter up. So Christian's there. The wonderful Dan Berry is obviously around, and yeah, I see Dan quite often. Obviously, we used to unfortunately do live drawing together, but obviously in current circumstances, live drawing is not exactly on the table at the minute. And we got, you know, a few peripheries. Shane Chebsey lives here. Who's, you know, does comics podcasts. He had his own publishing company, and he just happens to be the singer in Cosmic Rays, my band as well. So yeah, there's a bunch of us, and there's a couple of, well, there's one guy who I won't tell him, I won't say his name because, oh, and of course, John Wagner.
John Wagner, yeah.
Just up the road. I know there's somebody else. John's a bit further out. He lives about, I'd say, 7 or 8 miles out into the countryside, but yeah, I see John occasionally. So yeah, and there's another guy, another comic artist who's thinking of moving here, who shall remain nameless.
Oh, I might know who it is. Okay. Anyway, but
yeah, we are literally. He asked us to look at a few houses for him. So yeah.
Oh wow, exciting.
Doing that, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll ask you, because I know you're going to appear again actually in our next item. But what are you most looking forward to?
Get rid of me, can you?
Can't, not easily, no. What are you most looking forward to then in Licaf Live? Have you picked any things, apart from the things you're in, that you'd like to see?
I'm actually looking, I will tune in to see Sean in his studio. That'll be fun, I'm sure. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Hopefully I'll be able to tune live for that. But yeah, I can't wait. I mean, I think you guys have done a fantastic job, as Peter was saying. Does Peter live in a church, incidentally?
Not far off. He's in Oxford.
Is that really his house?
I believe so. I believe so. I know, it's impressive.
Yeah. Right, fair enough. I thought you'd gone all religious on us.
No, I don't think so. No, not Peter.
Yeah, Peter from his pulpit. What was I saying? Yeah, I think you guys have taken this medium by the horns and really run with it. I think it's really exciting, and hopefully, you know, it'll make people, because, you know, I've seen a lot, everyone's gone, you know, this year, everyone's gone virtual for obvious reasons. And some of them are just a bit like, what's the point in logging on for something like this? This is just a glorified, sort of, I don't know, eBay website or something like that, So doing stuff like this is really truly inspiring. So
that's really, thank you. Well, I'm really grateful. Thanks for taking time out in between your pints of beer or whatever, and thanks for showing and telling. And we'll be seeing you again in a moment. And for those who are Charlie Adlard addicts, there's also Desert Island Comics, completely devoted to Charlie's choices of comics for a desert island. Thank you very much.
Pass the panel as well.
Yes, and pass the panel, which we'll be showing later on tonight. Thanks a lot.
All right, my pleasure.
Take care. Bye. Bye. Fantastic. Thank you, Charlie. And so, as I just hinted, we'll see Charlie again in a moment. The social aspect of the festival is absolutely central. And since 2015, Joe and Luke Mcgarry have entertained us all as Pop Noir, which morphed more recently into the Licaf house band, ably supported by Charlie Adlard and a host of other musically talented guests. And this year is no exception. We will not be silenced. And I'm delighted to introduce our virtual house band for 2020, Viral Loads. It was created by Luke and Joe Mcgarry. We're going to show you one track now and one a little bit later. Luke is vocals and keyboard, Joe is guitar, Charlie on drums, and David the Simpson Silverman will be shocking us and entertaining us with his tuba and euphonium. So over to the Viral Loads and Waterfront.
To the waterfront, step out of the rain. I'm gonna walk on up to the waterfront. 7 million years from today, step on up to the waterfront. Get in, get out of the rain. Come in, come out of the rain. So good, so close, yet still so far, so good, so close, yet still so far, so far. I'm gonna move on up to the waterfront. Get in, get out of the rain. I'm gonna walk on up to the waterfront. Set 1 million years from today. Step on up to the waterfront. Get in, get out.
Thank you, Licaf. Thank you, Comic Arts Festival. Thank you, the internet. we got another one for you. Whatever.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, the viral loads. I hope you find them as infectious as I did. They'll be playing another number later on in the show. But we have had actually quite a few questions coming in, which is great on our YouTube question channel. First of all, Dinah actually says, what a lovely blouse I have, which is very kind, but I don't think this is supposed to be the London Fashion Show, and I'm certainly not a candidate for that if it was. But Nancy, hi Nancy, says that she likes the drawings behind me, and they are actually by the wonderful Gemma Carell, who's based in the States and has an enormous Instagram following. So I'd be very lucky to ask her and for her to agree to do our main artwork this year. Someone's asking whether Charlie's new work will be in colour or black and white. Stupid me, I didn't ask. But if he's still listening, maybe he'll send us a text and we can let you know a bit later on. And then is it Licaf or is it Licaf? We do need to try and resolve this once and for all. As you heard just then, Luke Mcgarry said Licaf. I think we'll maybe stick with Licaf. Anyway, so Friday evening, as many of you will know, is actually officially awards night at the festival. And first off, we normally, or have been awarding, the Sergio Arrigonas International Award for Comic Excellence. And we do that in partnership with the National Cartoonist Society. And the previous winners have been Dave McKean and Hunt Emerson. But we're not going to award one this year because one of the criteria is that the artist needs to be present to collect their award. And so we'll be saving that, holding that over for next year. But every other year, we also announce who the new UK Comics Laureate will be. And someone will be taking up that post from February 2021 for 2 years. It's actually a voluntary post, and it was set up to promote the transformational power of comics to the widest possible audience. And it's a big deal. It is internationally recognised. Now, in 2015 to 17, it was Dave Gibbons. 2017 to 2019, it was Charlie Adlard. And in 2019 to 2021, it was the wonderful Hannah Berry. And Hannah has been doing a fantastic job working with creators, surveying the work that they do, because without those people, we won't be able to do any educational projects, and also looking at work with marginalised people as well. But this year, we're actually going in a slightly different direction, and it's not actually going to be an artist at all, and it might be even better as a result of that. This year, we've chosen someone who is one of the most expert and generous proponents of comics, and in particular the UK comics scene. His shop has won a multitude of awards, and he's adored the world over for his infectious love of comics. Once a reluctant reader himself, he then went on to gain a degree in English literature and also in the history of art. The 2021 laureate is the co-owner, co-manager, and sole curator of the fantastic independent comic shop in Nottingham, Page 45. It is, round of applause everybody, Stephen Holland.
Thank you very much. Hello. My name's Stephen, and from March 2021, I'll be your new Comics Laureate. As soon as I take up my tenure of Comics Laureate, I want to start making a direct, quantifiable difference to this country's knowledge about comics by showcasing the true quality and diversity of graphic novels available from all over the world, as well as exploring how they work. My fervent hope is that this will galvanize more people to begin investigating, reading, and relishing graphic novels, and inspire yet more individuals from the broadest possible backgrounds and with an even wider range of perspectives to start creating them. We can never have enough new voices in comics, never. And that way lies a phenomenally positive, self-renewing cycle. Key to all this for me is to start getting into schools and start spreading the word in order to generate a renewed love of reading for pleasure and empower young minds with the knowledge that they can create for themselves. Wherever I roam, in schools and elsewhere, I want to surprise as we explore together what the comics medium actually is, where it's appeared, what it can do and how it can do it, whilst emphasizing the limitless breadth of subject matter that comics does and can cover. In addition, I want to be candid about my other priority. I particularly want to spend most of my time visiting urban state schools. Not exclusively, but that will be my main focus. The reason being that those schools tend to have a larger population of Black, Asian, and minority ethnic students. To anyone caring to look, the biggest, most blindingly obvious and shameful problem still prohibiting our progress in comics today, just as it is in the picture and prose book industries, is the comparative lack of material crafted by Black, Asian, and minority ethnic writers and artists actually being published and so beginning to reach its vast potential public. Our industry is overwhelmingly, disproportionately white. And that's wrong. It's both unhealthy and it's unwealthy. For only with greater diversity can we all enjoy new voices, attract a wider range of readers who actually recognize themselves, and so generate greater revenues for everyone involved in the industry. It's pure economics, it's basic common sense, and it is exciting. Now, I'm not a politician or a publisher, though I do hope to attract their attention as I go along. But what I can do immediately is to get into schools, open young eyes, and galvanize, partly by showing students the diversity of graphic novels that have already been produced in order to inspire more to do the same. To that end, thanks to its Learning Resource Centre manager, Rowena Singleton, and Licaf's very own Hester Harrington, my first day teaching comics as Comics Laureate has already been arranged for Monday, the 26th of April, 2021, at the multicultural Abraham Moss Community School in North Manchester. Until then, I've shot 4 films for Licaf Live, which you can watch on this website right now, exploring 6 comics and image-integrated picture books. If you follow the Licaf Live website to Comics Up Close and then Comics, Clouds and Kendalmint Cake, you'll find me in what I hope is eloquent awe of Molly Mendoza's oh-so-supportive Skip, a masterclass in movement, color and form, shot against the gobsmacking background of High Dam. Follow the symbols instead to Little Licaf for families, and you'll find me relishing the warm-hearted welcoming of strangers in Sarah McIntyre's The New Neighbours, her equally exuberant Gumpy Corn and Don't Call Me Grumpy Corn, then relishing the maternal wisdom and luxurious jaw-dropping detail of You're Safe With Me and You're Snug With Me by Chitra Sundar and Poonam Mystery. I'm new to being filmed, but I believe they'll give you a glimpse of what I intend to replicate for all manner of graphic novels across this country from 2021 to 2023, wherever I'm asked, in schools, for annual library association meetings, in newspapers, on television, and indeed as a permanent resource online for you all to watch yourselves. The limitlessly rich medium of comics encompasses everything from fiercely thought out and highly individualistic autobiography, history, crime, travel, comedy, science fiction, fantasy, horror, sociopolitics, to contemporary everyday fiction, which soon I hope everyone can relate to. Thanks to the Lakes International Comic Art Festival, its board and director Julie Tait, Lancaster University and Arts Council England, I have been given the opportunity of a lifetime to expand what we've already achieved over the last 26 years at Page 45 in Nottingham, and take this message about our shared beloved medium nationwide. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring about comics. I want to show the world what they really are.
Brilliant. Thank you, Stephen.
You're very welcome.
As a form of congratulations,
Thank you.
I think if you can manage it, you can take that lovely sparkling wine.
I will take it and run. Thank you very much indeed. That wasn't at all pants-sweatingly terrifying.
Good to hear it.
Yeah. Shall I take these with me?
You do that. Brilliant. Thank you very much. So Stephen Holland is, as of next February, our new Comics Laureate.
Thanks
Fantastic.
very much, folks.
Brilliant. Okay, and now we're going to move to a little bit more comics fun. As I mentioned earlier on, we have a section called Daft as a Brush, and we thought at this point on a Friday evening, we should do a bit of Daft as a Brush. And what we've done is we approached some creators from different countries and different kinds of cartooning to address 3 different challenges. And we thought this evening we would pick out the cutest one, the one that's made us chuckle the most. And that's by Zoom Rockman, who is actually a Licaf patron and very well known within the sort of satirical cartooning industry, and very young as well, and the future of comics in this country to some degree. And so we're going to play you now his attempt, very good attempt, to draw his pet.
Drop it. Drop it.
Hi, my name's Zoom, and today I'm going to be drawing my pet dog, Teddy. So this is how you draw Teddy. You start with the eyes, so 2 circles next to each other, and then her nose there. And they're sort of free formation there. Just a bit of white on the eyes there. I'm going to colour that in. Fill it in. Okay, and then you want to do this sort of shape out here. Coming out like that. And then there's sort of a circle around the eye, so you can do that there. And then around the eyes it sort of goes up in different directions, like this. And then she's got these things tying her hair together, so we'll just go around like this. Comes out, so and she's got really pointy ears. And like this, and then coming out at the sides. And then how she can be standing? Let's have her down like this. And we'll do her legs. Coming down like that. And her tail. Have her leg there. Okay, and then there's more shadow there, so I'll fill that bit in. And then we just want to colour it. So if we there's lighter bits around here, so I'm just going to fill those in. Around there. And then I usually go from light to dark, so there's a darker sort of brown tone. And just go around here. And move to the next tone, which is this one. And it's a lot darker up here. Darker again. Much darker over here. Yep, and that's how you draw Teddy.
How cute is that dog? Sorry. And yeah, I wonder if Zoom's regretting calling himself Zoom now, but let's do Zoom. I mean, yeah. Anyway, that's fantastic. If you want to see more of Zoom's work and the work of Dagson from Iceland and Björk from Denmark, then you can tune in tomorrow at 4 o'clock where you'll see all of those challenges put in front of them. We've had an answer from Charlie. Someone asked the question whether Heretic would be colour or black and white, and it is planned to be in colour. And apparently the plan is to try and find somebody local to do that colouring. So any colourists out there around the West Midlands and Shrewsbury should keep their ears pricked up. We have another Daft as a Brush moment for you now as well. We've been long-time friends of Viz, or at least we've been trying to change the dates regularly each year so that Viz actually don't get to come along, because they've caused all sorts of mayhem in their time. Only kidding. But this year, they're using their relationship with us to quite kind of blatantly try and get rid of some additional stock of their forthcoming annual from 2021, which I have here a copy, called The Wizard's Sleeve, which, for those of you who look it up in Profanosaurus, will be absolutely horrified. So we've got a competition. We're going to have 10 questions over the next 48 hours. Each question, if answered correctly, has a prize attached to it. So you don't have to answer all 10 questions to get one of these wonderful specimens. For those who are runners-up, you get what they call a cheap pen. They work just about. And you'll see on the videos that they tell you how to actually submit your answers, but they don't tell you that you need to include your address and name. So please remember to do that. We're going to show you the first 2 questions, one from Graham Jury and one from Simon Thorpe. Good luck.
Hi, my name's Graham Jury and I'm one of the editors of this comic. And we're going to be giving away 10 copies of this, the latest annual, this year's annual. And when you think that there'll be nobody in the shops buying it this year, and Amazon will probably say that that it's not in stock when it is, so nobody's going to buy it this year. So you could be one of the only 10 people in the country to have a copy of this annual. Now, one of the questions I get asked more than anything else is it possible to draw Viz comic in a greenhouse? So I'm going to try today, see if I can. So here we go, let's come inside. I'll just move these tomato. Right, we go. So the answer to the question, can you draw this comic inside a greenhouse? The answer is yes, but not very well. So to win this, here's a question. Which issue did the Fat Slags first appear in? Is the answer A, issue 32, B, issue 38, or C, I don't know? So that's 32, 38, or I don't know.
Can you tell me how much does 8 Ace pay for 8 cans of Ace Lager?
Well, it's not exactly French comics, is it? But we're very proud to have Viz as partners with us. There'll be 5 more questions tomorrow and 3 more of them, maths is right, on Sunday. And as I say, if you're going to enter, please include your name and address if you want to get one of these wonderful annuals or a cheap pen. So now I'm pleased to say that we go back to the viral loads, and we are blown away by this particular number. It, as you will see, involves cameos from many friends of Licaf, but also of the National Cartoonist Society over in the States. Again, the architects of this are Luke and Joe Mcgarry. Here, Luke is on vocals, as is Curly Slapayawa. Joe Mcgarry is on guitar, Michael Lark is on bass, and Charlie Adlard is on drums. And David Flaming Silverman of The Simpsons makes a guest appearance as well. So please put your hands together or whatever, raise your glasses to Why Light by the Viral Loads.
While I go and messing up my mind. White light, don't you know it's gonna make me go blind? White heat, oh, white heat, you tickle me down to my toes. Oh, white light, I said now, goodness knows. White light, go and messing up my brain. White light, don't you know it's gonna make me insane? White heat, oh, white heat, you tickle me down to my toes. Oh, white light, I said now, goodness knows. Come on. I surely do love watch that stuff to itself in. Oh, watch outside, everyone's gonna be dead in the drive. Hey, Foxy Mama watching her walk down the street. White light, white light going messing up my brain. Don't you know it's gonna drive me insane? Oh, why did it tickle me down to my toes? How I light, I said now, goodness knows. How I light it, lighten up my eyes. Don't you know it fills me up with surprise? How I did it tickle me down to my toes? How I light, I tell you now, goodness knows. Oh, I surely do love watching that stuff slip itself in. Watch that speed freak, watch that speed freak. Everybody gonna go make it every week. Oh, smother mother, everybody go and kiss their mother. Here she comes, everybody gotta go, make me run to it. While I go on messing up my mind, don't you know it's gonna make me go blind? Oh, why did you tickle me down to my toes? Oh, why light I said now, goodness knows. While I go on messing up my brain, don't you know it's gonna drive me insane? Oh, why did you tickle me down to my toes? Oh, why light I said now, goodness knows. Oh, she surely didn't lose me. Watch outside, everyone's gonna be dead in the drive. Ah, spot a mother, everybody gonna go kill their mother. Why?
Well, that's all for now, folks. You can spend the rest of your evening flicking through all of our content, deciding or not deciding what to watch. Remember that Licaf Live is for life, not just for the weekend. If you want to watch it in one go, then you can, but I can assure you that you won't be finished until Tuesday tea time, which for the Americans means around 5 o'clock GMT. Tomorrow's highlights, we kick off at 10 o'clock with Little Licaf Live and Sarah McIntyre. Later on, we have a live link and political cartooning challenge with the amazing Martin Rosen and a drawing on Japan session as well. And we finish at 6 o'clock with Luke Mcgarry, who will be doing his live cartooning capers from Los Angeles. On Sunday, we start again at 10. We go to Sean Phillips's studio live, and we go back again later in the day to see what he's been up to. We also have a visit to Dave McKean's studio, which is a really special film. And we also go with Stephen Appleby to mess around on boats. We should be announcing the Myriad First Graphic Novel Competition winner at 3 o'clock on Sunday. We also have a pub quiz at noon. And you can register right now on the website and take part in that and win some amazing prizes. So it's come around really fast. That's the end of our live feed on Friday. However, we have one last little gem to leave you with. It lasts around 30 minutes, but it's worth every single second. It's my festival pick. It's the Pass the Panel, which involves creators from around the world creating an original story, and the video shows you their process and also the final product, which is also available as a PDF on our website. And again, thanks to Joe and Luke Mcgarry for pulling all of it together. I hope you enjoy it. We shall show it again on Sunday because we're that proud of it. So have a great evening. See you again over the weekend. I've been Julie Tait, and this has been an amazing evening, and we'll hope to see you again over the next couple of days. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Luke Mcgarry, and you are about to watch our Pass the Panel collaborative comic. The idea was that a group of artists would get together and create a comic by continuing on from where the last person left off, with no kind of planning, no forethought, and we each only had a couple days to do it. It all turned out really well, in my opinion. I was in charge of organizing it, and it was surprisingly easy considering it was a group of cartoonists. Usually that's like herding cats. Each of us have done a screen record. You're going to see some fast forward, some mega fast forward, some sickening fast forward, except for Stephen Appleby, who is very chill. What else did I have to tell you? Hi, sorry, where was I? I got a phone call about upgrading my internet right in the middle of that. So, yes, it turned out well. I'm happy with everything. I will say that the French Canadians were better at following instructions than the Brits. But overall, everybody did great, and can't wait to show you this, which you're about to watch right now. And since I kicked it off about a month ago, you're going to have to watch me introduce myself again right now. Here we go. Enjoy. Hi, I'm Luke Mcgarry. I'm the first artist kicking this challenge off. I figured since the Comic Art Festival is based in Kendal, and Kendal is sheep country, I'd do a comic about a little sheep. The other thing about Kendal is it has a very iconic clock tower in the town centre. So I figured what I'd do is a little sheep strapped into some sort of rocket ship. There's a countdown happening. And so you think it's going to be a rocket ship, but boy oh boy, we pull out to reveal that it's actually the Kendal Clock Tower about to blast off into space. I figured this would give ample room for the artists following on from this to come up with some storylines. So I can't wait to see where it goes. This is me coloring it now. Look at me go. Here we go. I actually changed my coloring process to make it more interesting for the video, and it was a nightmare, but it looks good in fast forward, so I was right to do that. Here I am coloring in the sky, a slightly richer blue than Kendal is used to. It's sort of a grey, and I can't wait to see where it goes. Here we go. Here's the rocket blasting off into space. Okay, love you, bye.
Hello, my name's Duncan Fagredo. I had the pleasure of following on from Luke on this comic, and I tried to simplify my work down a little bit and make it fit in with what Luke had done. He's got a really nice open bouncy line, and I want to try and reflect that in my work as well, give it a little bit more continuity. So I try to avoid using things like screen rulers, what the hell are they? Perspective rulers. I try to make it a little bit more organic. The idea was to make it quicker, simpler, and I failed completely. I spent far too long on this. You're welcome. Anyway, yeah, it was fun, and I will totally admit to finding a picture of the Earth online and running a filter over it and slapping it in the background, because damned if I was going to paint the whole planet. I mean, come on. Anyway, there you go, boom. Easy solutions, the way you do in comics. What else can I say? Oh, well, all there really is to say now, I think, is to apologise to Stephen Appleby, who I believe is following me, for that far too complicated spaceship thing at the end. If I were you, I would just make it up as you go along, and that's what I did, or maybe say it was all a dream, or a nightmare, your choice. Good luck.
I'm Stephen Appleby, and I've signed up for the third page of the collaborative comic. And first thing is what to do. I'm trying to think of an idea.
The comic starts beautifully with the sheep taking off into space in the rocket clock tower. Then we're out of the atmosphere, there's zero gravity, and suddenly there's a tractor beam. We're caught. But what am I going to do?
Something kind of neat and clever or No, I think the best thing to do is to kind of continue the atmosphere and try and move the story along a little bit, but leaving it open for the next person and all the next people who've got, you know, another 20 plus pages still to do.
So now it's a couple of hours later and I've got an idea. I'm thinking that when the sheep's rocket is sucked into the vast alien craft, there'd be an announcement in some kind of weird language the sheep doesn't understand. So he puts on his translation device, and what he hears is the punchline for my section and hopefully gives the next person something to work with to carry on the comic.
Okay, it's later in the day and I've worked out what I'm going to do, which is now this. And I'm now at the point of sort of starting to draw the boxes, because I work in an analog way, so I draw with a pen such as this and a bottle of ink. Here we go. Just get started. I've got a kind of grid underneath that sort of gives me a guide. I don't want to be too careful inking it in because I'll lose the quality of the pen.
I do quite a lot of things on separate sheets because it's almost like layers in Photoshop, and I can manipulate them much more easily if I scan them separately and move things around and so on and so on. The great thing about working on a light box like this is that there are no pencil lines to rub out later, and you can keep the drawing fresh as well. The secret it really is to not trace carefully, but to draw using the drawing underneath as a guide.
Getting there slowly. Okay, I'm done with the drawing part. Here it is.
I've decided to do another layer in an analog way of watercolor. That means I can scan it and kind of position it and double it and then tweak the colors and so on like that in the computer. Here we go.
Okay, so is that a mess or is it gonna work? We will scan it now and find out.
Right, that looks fine. And now I'll start by making the speech bubbles white. That's easy to do because of having the speech bubble lines on a separate layer from the drawing. There we go. I've copied the watercolor layer 2 or 3 times, which means I can switch layers on and off, make them more or less dense, and that way I can make the watercolor as rich or as deep as I like. Now I'm going to sample colors from the previous page, Duncan's drawing, to use in mine so it links from one page to the next. That's the green sampled from Duncan's final drawing. And now making it transparent, seeing how that looks. Next I'll take a lighter version of the colour and add highlights, sort of light effects. I never think I'm very good at this kind of thing, but you know, sometimes an idiosyncratic approach can kind of work. Now fill it in. That looks okay. Now I'll take a darker colour and try and kind of make the background in shadow. I'll mess about with that, lightening and darkening it. Once I'm happy with that, I'll just keep going through the rest of the page, adding layers of flat colour over the watercolour, making it transparent so the watercolour texture shows through, keeping that effect.
So I'm done. I hope you enjoy the comic. Thank you. Bye.
Hi everybody, my name is Rick Stromoski and I'm a cartoonist and humorous illustrator from the United States who lives in a state of Connecticut in a sleepy little town called Suffield.
My humorous illustration work appears in children's books and children's publications, as well as greeting cards and advertising. I've also had 3 syndicated newspaper features over the past 25 years, including one with my good friend Steve Mcgarry, who graciously invited me to partake in this jam drawing. I'm humbled by the talent I'm sharing this space with, and I hope you enjoy my little contribution. Thanks for watching.
So, I'm working on my segment of this Past the Panel, and as the story unfolds, it turns out that our hero is a sheep from Kendal. Now, Kendal's a town in the north of England, so if we accept the fact that Kendal would have a sheep astronaut, it's not unreasonable to think he'd be a talking sheep, and in which case he'd have a north of England accent somewhat like my own. But if you're not familiar with my accent, imagine the sheep talking in Liam Gallagher's voice. As I looked at the other artists' work, the last one up before me was Rick Stromowski, and he had the sheep landing on this alien spaceship and being greeted by what appeared to be shepherds and a butcher, which suggested to me that it's probably a planet of cannibals. So then I was thinking, all right, well, what would be the welcome for a sheep on a planet of cannibals? And they would probably eat him. And if you eat sheep, if you eat lamb, there's only 2 ways you can eat it. One is with a nice Rogan Josh curry sauce, or why not go with a nice vat of mint sauce, which is a traditional English way of eating lamb. So I thought, yeah, they'll just immerse him in a vat of mint sauce.
My name is Craig Gleason, and this is where I draw. I was given the opportunity to draw 4 panels to shift gears in any direction I wanted in this comic, and I wasted it on having these 2 henchmen kind of discuss, how they're confused on whether they're in heaven or hell or limbo, and they're just kind of picking each other's brains. They're both confused as to why they are putting sheep into mint sauce, and ultimately they end up just losing the sheep. And this is how I drew it in fast motion. I started out with the thumbnail, and then I ended up just making it bigger and more detailed, and I used squiggly lines because I can't draw straight lines.
Hello, I'm Johnny Sampson. I'm a freelance cartoonist living near Chicago, Illinois. I do the fold-in for what's left of Mad Magazine. Wah, wah. I like writing and drawing gag cartoons. This is my very first sheep in space comic. Hope you like it. As you can see, I like to work with traditional media. I use blue pencil on Bristol paper, ink pens, and gouache for corrections. I love the way these materials feel in my hands. And one thing that will always be true is that paper does not crash. I always have some kind of problem when I'm working on my computer. Photoshop's not running properly, my tablet glitches out on me, I have the spinning beach ball slowing me down, and just this week we've had a few power outages. It's a total hassle, but I make do. Anyway, happy to be part of this very talented group. Big thanks to Luke for having me on board, and someday I hope I can make it out to the Lakes Fest in person. Bye!
Hi everybody, Tom Richmond here, continuing our Past the Panel story for the Lakes Festival. I'm working out the basic page composition and rough sketch right now, and then I'll add in the dialogue and the panel gutters and lines and everything. In our last episode, our hero runs into a femme fatale, or was she? I'm going from digital to analog here and inking this with a brush pen on my light table. Then I'll scan it in and go back to my Cintiq and Photoshop for the color. Since this mysterious sheep lady is obviously not what she pretends to be, I'm going to take our protagonist from the frying pan into the fire. He's going to run into a resistance movement full of other crazy barnyard animals. Just putting the finishing touches here on the color. Can't wait to see where the story goes. Thanks for having me participate.
My name is Lucia Lomova and I'm the contributor number 9 in the project Pass the Panel. And the story about the astronaut sheep is getting wilder and wilder, and today I'm going to create a new episode and I'm going to start with creating the main characters. It's fun to take someone else's characters and adopt them. I like to combine digital and handwork because I like both, and sometimes it's difficult for me to decide. Sheep are usually portrayed as defenseless and stupid, so I wanted our hero to be more savvy and brave. I'm really looking forward how the next ones will continue with this story.
Hi, I'm Charlie Adlard. Here I am in my studio doing my piece for Pass the Panel. Let me first apologise for not doing it on QuickTime and recording the thing. Sorry, I basically forgot. And I've finished it. So here I am, I'm just going to literally add my final touches on the Cintiq here to my final panel. Go on to that layer, take it off lock, and I'm just going to add a bit of dust from the exhaust. Just like that. There we go. The end. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Hi, Bill Morrison here, and I'm just sitting here doodling away on my brand new Cintiq. Actually, it's not all that new. I've had it for some time, but I never got it out of the box until I was asked to be a part of this project. And, so this is really my first digital comic strip. I've never drawn digitally before in my life. So this was a real learning experience for me. It was a lot of fun, but it was also challenging. I definitely learned a lot. And my part of the story picks up where Charlie Adlard left off. And Charlie had our hero Sheepy, which is what I call him. I don't know what his real name is. But Sheepy had been corralled in a giant space pen with a bunch of other spaceships. He was in his Kendal Clock Tower ship. And he was, just basically stuck in this pen inside of his ship. No way out, no means of escape. So it was left up to me to figure out how to get him out of there. So I thought about, I wanted to make it something sort of specific to Kendal maybe. And I remembered when I was in Kendal as a guest for the Lakes Festival a few years ago, one of the things I remember most about it were the world famous Kendal mint cakes. So I thought, well, maybe the mint cakes are the key to getting Sheepy out of his predicament. So that's what I did. I hope you like it. I'm excited to see where it goes and how it ends up. I hope Sheepy's okay. I hope he makes it out alive. I guess we'll see. Stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Michael Lark, and it's my turn to do Pass the Panel. So I've got my pencils here that I worked on last night a little bit, very loosely. I've got my reference over here, my sheep and my mission control, and so because I haven't had the pleasure of drawing sheep before, I got lots of reference of sheep, and now I'm ready to start doing some inking. So that's it, and here we go. I'll probably start with the last panel because it's the one I feel the most comfortable with, and I can get warmed up on that one. Definitely going to tackle the big panel here last.
Hi, my name is Francis Desharnais. I'm from Quebec City in the province of Quebec in Canada. I've made this panel, and well, when I began to work on it, our hero sheep was transforming. His body was transforming because of edible mint cake. So it was becoming like more with more muscles and all that. So I tried to continue on the body transformation. I really wanted to do, like, you know, in Akira, when Tetsuo is losing control of his body, so the sheep completely lose control of his body. And in the Kendal Space Center, they are witnessing all that via their radios, and they cannot do anything. So I really hope that the next artist will be able to do something with all that.
Hi, I'm JB, and I'm gonna participate into this Pass the Panel thing, a story about a ship that's traveling through space. And so, like in every story, you get to get back to where you started. So I'm gonna crash land the ship back on Earth, into Kendal, and let's see what happens.
Hi, I'm Alex, and I had the pleasure to close this weird sheep in the space story. It's really fun to do that kind of exercise because you can just do whatever you like, you know. You can draw whatever thing you like to draw, or add silly things or with weird things just to mess with other creator. So yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it was something really for me because I had a book in library called A Sheep in the Head, so I was in familiar thing here. So yeah, to do the page. So I have a pretty simple way to do my pages. I have a pretty simple cartoon style, so nothing really fancy here. So I use Clip Studio Paint. It's a program just for drawing. So it's a program that was thought for doing comic books. So it's my favorite drawing program. I think it's better than Photoshop, but that's my thing. So yeah, so I just do, first step is drawing the panel and add a little very simple sketches in here just to put all the elements that I want. And when this is done, I always put my page on the left and another blank page on the right. And on the right page, I do all the elements that will be in the page. So all the characters and any object that I need. So I draw everything there and just put it on the page after. So that's how I construct my page. I construct them like a little puzzle, you know. That's what is great with when you work with a computer, that you can just move your element and change it very quickly. So I put all the characters in the panel and I can move them very fast, or just change the size or thing like that. So yeah, I put all the elements in the page, and after that I do the inking. When everything is well put together, I do the inking, so add another layer, retrace all of the drawing. So very simple way to do it. And after the inking, you know, just another layer to do the color, and another one to do the shadow effect. So the shadow is just some little gray part that will be translucent. So when I had the color just under, I get the shadow effect. Oh, and with the shadow, I had some lighting effects too. So little gradient here and there, little white spot, just to have more than just flat color, you know, just add the little 3D effect to the style. So that's pretty much it. Very simple way to do it. So a layer for the inking, for the sketches, the inking, the shadow, and the color, and that's it. I had my page. So here we go. That was my panel. So hope you like it. Thanks.
Well, quite brilliant. And yeah, please feel free to go on the website and download your own personal copy, PDF of that absolutely fantastic comic, which actually is still without a title in case anybody wants to suggest one to us. But anyway, that's the end of our sort of live broadcast this evening. It's been fantastic to be able to share those wonderful little moments with you. We're very excited about the next couple of days. We hope that we will see you again from 10 o'clock onwards tomorrow on Sunday, and there's tons of content there for you to enjoy for the rest of the evening. I just want to thank all the creators who've contributed to this evening's proceedings, to our incredible team who've managed to pull this off, fantastic. And finally to our two main funders and supporters, one being Arts Council England, and also Lenovo, our main partner and sponsor this evening. So take care, and we'll see you again at 10 o'clock tomorrow.